Yangmin asks Black Scythe what he's telling them to do, to which he says he couldn't bear seeing the injured ones being left behind, inwardly remarking that it helps him out as well since it will make a good impression on Meg Yonglok if he helps, because the conglomerate like him owns him. Then the reward will make a snowball effect, making it so he'll be repaid with a much greater favor, but there's also the fact that he just doesn't like these guys. Yaman worryingly warns him that he'll kill him if he comes close, so he smirks and asks what the problem is, and if he doesn't want to fight in hearing, which he inwardly asks what he thinks he's saying. He remarks that he tore through the goblins last time and took the top rank last time, so of course no one in his position would want to fight such a monster. Black Scythe tells him to be honest with him if he doesn't want to fight. Yaman asks if he'll let him go if he's honest, to which he answers that he'll consider it if he goes on his knees and earnestly begs for his life. Yaman angrily questions if he's trying to humiliate him when his friends are watching and in front of Eren, saying he doesn't want to fight him if he can avoid it, but he's really pissing him off before suddenly remembering that he's strong enough to break through walls with his bare hands and might actually have a chance since he'll be able to send Black Scythe flying in a single punch if he's lucky. He slowly steps forward, smirking, and tells Black Scythe that he's crossing the line, asking if he has a death wish, telling himself that he'll naturally close the distance and land a solid blow to his face, so there's no way a human could withstand something that could break through a wall. Black Scythe dismisses his weapon and says it's unfair if he's the only one using something other than his bare hands because that would be too boring of a win. He quickly rushes forward, seeing which Yangmin arrogantly says he exposed his head before aiming for a solid blow, telling him to die, but Black Scythe effortlessly dodges and punches him on stomach, sending him flying. Yaman wearily looks up from the ground, cursing him, so he tells him to stop swearing or his ears might rot before kicking him in the face. He grabs his collar and starts pummeling his face as Yangmin alarmingly says it feels like he's getting hit with a hammer rather than a fist, asking if this guy is as strong as he is. He remarks that he didn't have a physical attribute rune like him and questions how he became so strong before Black Scythe lands the final blow and slams him to the ground. Yaman's friends hurriedly take their arrows out and dispatch them, seeing which Eren quickly tells him to dodge, so he swiftly avoids all the shots and closes up on the guy, remarking that he probably got lucky while hunting monsters and received a bow, but it's unfortunate that he met him before slashing his arm off. The others warily ask if he thinks he can just mess with them and be on his way, telling him he's dead now as another one rushes at him with his dagger, but he asks if that is the case and instantly uses insignia of death before swinging back his scythe and bringing it forward. Black Scythe swings his scythe forward and chops off his legs, which the other guy looks at in shock before Black Scythe charges towards him and says attacking him with a weapon means they at least have a bit of resolve. He cuts off the guy's hand and inwardly says Insignia of Death has a 2x attack buff as expected, so he can even cut armor in one go. As all three of the guys are cowering on the ground, he remarks that this is too easy, but he can't end it here and has to inject fear into them so that they can't come crawling after him again. Bloodied and beaten up, the guy pleads for him to please stop because he feels like he's dying, but Black Scythe tells him to stop whining since he won't die with just that inflicted on him. He throws the blood off of the scythe and says these guys are finished, so the next one is. He tells Yaman that it doesn't matter even if he tries to hide because there won't be any exceptions. He chops off his arm, seeing which Yaman immediately starts screaming, so he tells him to stop being a crybaby since that much isn't even painful compared to the pain he gave him before chopping off another hand. Magayanlok inwardly says he was able to mercilessly chop off 2 arms of an opponent who's already lost the will to fight, and though it may seem harsh to some people, this kind of cool-headedness is what he likes because this Black Scythe guy really rivals even the president. Black Scythe asks if they're fine, which he agrees to thanks to him, to which he tells them that they won't have to worry about getting attacked by these guys since they won't even be able to move, so it'll be best to vote. Eren and Meg Yonglok both bow and thank him for helping them before she hesitantly asks if they won't just die at this rate, to which he asks if that's a problem since they aren't even at the level of animals, inwardly saying she's way too soft. He wonders why she even cares about those guys' lives like some kind of saint before Meg Yonglok questions if he can ask something. Once Black Scythe agrees, he asks why he spared them, to which he says it won't be a problem in this world, even if he kills them, remarking that he really is acting like the right arm of Meg Yonglok, before telling him that the reason behind why he didn't kill them is that he gains no benefit from doing so. Meg Yonglok says still leaving behind something that can cause trouble in the future, but Black Scythe interrupts him and asks if these guys will really be able to cause any trouble to him, and also nothing good comes out of a decreasing population since the number of finished participants will also decrease because of that, which Meg Yonglok agrees to, since if the number of participants decrease, the number of places for those who finish the round will also decrease, and has even thought of all of this, so his knowledge of the game is different from the others. Mag Jae-young says he understands and won't pay heed to this trash, then to which Black Scythe says he'll leave in that case, but Jae-young hurriedly stops him and says he can send him compensation in the real world if he reads out his account number, but he tells him to forget about it and leaves, seeing which he says he'll report the fact that he helped without expecting any sort of compensation to the president. Looking over at Yaman, he remarks that even though they wants to kill him, they'll have to hold back since, as he said, it won't benefit any of them before leaving with Aaron. Two guys are arguing over who gets to become the region representative as other try to stop them before a boy announces that there's only 2 more hours left, so they shouldn't be wasting time and should hurry up and vote because he has a good solution, inwardly remarking that they're following his words and, as expected, are falling for it again, for his persuasion rune. When he got the persuasion rune as his random run fragment, he was disappointed and questioned what it was, saying that this wouldn't work on monsters incapable of conversation, but he found the way to use it soon enough when he asked everyone to help a woman being cornered by a pair of goblins and told them to leave theirs behind, which they'd agreed to and rushed over, after which he repeatedly used this technique to steal goblins that were a hit away from dying to easily kill 100 of them. In present day, he says he can easily become the region representative if things go well this time too. He tells everyone that they should first decide on the candidates and should narrow down their options to roughly 5 people and vote between them. Hearing this, a woman says that isn't a bad idea, and someone else remarks that it makes sense since they would never have accomplished this if they were just discussing who they should vote for. The boy tells them to raise their hand if there's anyone they want to recommend, but are obviously not allowed to recommend themselves since they would just be repeating the same thing again if they did that, remarking that it's really easy to persuade these losers. As everyone wonders who they should recommend since they don't know anyone here and just want to vote for themselves, he says it's quiet like he planned, so the recommendations will soon narrow down to the people who stood out. A man recommends him Mint Chocolate Boy as representative since it's best if the representative is someone who's logical and has leadership skills at the end. Someone else agrees to this since he's also controlling the situation right now before someone says they want to vote for Black Scythe, which he remarks makes sense since obviously some people would want to vote for the first-ranked player. A few more people rank the second and third-ranked players, after which they decide on these 4 nominations. He says they should give their speeches and now is about to start his before being interrupted as the second-ranked player. Life is a Documentary steps forward and tells him to stop this crap, remarking that he must think the world is really easy since people just do whatever he wants them to with a few words, and asks who the hell he thinks he is to decide the region representative, as Mint Chocolate Boy wonders if he figured out his rune. Life in a Documentary angrily tells everyone to just vote for him, so Mint Chocolate Boy says no one will listen to him like that and tells him to stop embarrassing himself before getting his throat slashed off, seeing which everyone starts calling Life in a Documentary a murderer, and he challenges them to come face him before starting to cut through them one after another, and giddily says he's going after Black Scythe next, who's defeating beasts in the forest, and says you should go now since it's time as the time for voting arrives and everyone in the region gets summoned to the starting point. All the players get summoned back and suddenly see the various corpses littered on the ground, asking what happened here and if that guy killed them all, as Black Scythe says it looks like Cho Jung-suk gains superiority again, this time explaining that he's the boss of the Jung-suk gang and the second most talented fighter in the district, but his personality is straight up trash, so it's always better to remove the ticking time bomb before it goes off, but now's not the time. Cho Jung-suk steps forward and asks where he's been since he's looking for him, to which he asks what he wants. Cho says it's nothing much and will get straight to the point, telling him to serve him. He says he'll spare his life if he does that, so Black Scythe asks if he wants to start fighting now and orders him to kneel, telling him to get on his knees and beg, which is the only way he'll let him go unharmed. Cho says it doesn't look like he's completely grasped the situation yet and is about to explain what he'll do if he becomes the representative, but Black Scythe interrupts him, asking if it's that hard to understand or if he'd be more satisfied by dying here, summoning his scythe. Cho hurriedly wonders where he got the weapon from and says he messed with the wrong guy before Black Scythe confidently asks what's wrong. He angrily says he's the boss of the Jung-suk gang and asks if he thinks he'll bow down to the likes of him, telling him to come at him with that fancy weapon of his hearing, which Black Scythe remarks that he's as short-tempered as always, but things will get complicated if he showcases his strength and gets all the votes and needs to make him the representative in order to use him in the 3rd round, along with which it's time for the angel to show up. Suddenly, the angel appears and asks if they're ready, as Black Scythe tells Cho that he's in luck today and should check who he's challenging next time unless he wants to die an early death hearing, which Cho angrily says he'll let him go for now, but will pay the humiliation back many times over if he becomes the representative. The angel asks if they decided on the representative and remarks that it looks like they've done more than just talking in the past 3 hours, but it's obviously none of her business whether trash like them lies or not, asking if they should proceed with the official voting. As the voting for region representatives begins, a screen explains that they'll have to vote within 5 minutes or else they'll be eliminated and will die. Everyone worryingly watches Cho Jung-suk before he calls out a woman and asks why she isn't looking at him and if she wants to die, telling them all to consider themselves as good as dead if they don't look at him before the voting duration ends, and the angel says none of them tried to idiotically skip out on the vote and starts tallying them up as a screen appears, showing life as a documentary with 2412 votes and Black Scythe in second place with 2077 votes. The angel announces that he has become the region representative and will receive the authority of the command so that he can order people around. The angel then explains that there's a hidden quest as well this round, telling them to get an advancement item and a class, and remarks that someone in this region received a class advancement as well before showing a screen with Black Scythe's name as everyone realizes that he's the only one who advanced in their entire region and is a Reaper on top of that.